So hello there. Today we are going to clean these mainboards. So I'm going to show you how I clean mainboards, which is probably going to be the way that you go. You can't clean a mainboard like that, but I've been doing the technique that I use for the last, I don't know, 20 years, and I've never ever killed a mainboard. So yeah, we're going to clean these two boards because I'm going to put them up for sale because I need some more cash flow for my next YouTube projects as such. So we've got two boards here that we're going to clean up. They've just been sitting around with no use. I know one's got like an AMD quad core on it, which is this one. There's bits of dirt on it everywhere. Let's give it a nice clean. Same with this one. This one's pretty filthy. So we're just going to pull all the bits off and yeah, start cleaning them. Alrighty, so we've got our mainboard cleaning checklist. So what do we need? Well, I use a dishwasher, a dehumidifier that also heats the air, or a low humidity 35 plus degree day. Not an oven. I've not had good success drying stuff successfully in the oven as the humidity can't escape. You want the humidity to escape as it's warmed up, and that impedes drying. You might have used an oven and that's cool, but I'm just giving my 10 cents worth here. Distilled water in a spray bottle, electrical contact cleaner, air can or a compressor, additional for the fan and CPU cooler, a small paintbrush just to help get the gunk off, and additional for the RAM slots, manila folder or cleaning card, because you can get residue on those contacts. And if you've followed my videos, as you've seen before, it can actually cause problems in memory slots and PCI slots. Right, so first up, when you got your mainboard, you want to blow the dust off. I spray and wipe on the contaminated areas of the board. So if there's like silicone grease or other contaminants, just give it a spray on there. Then I run the rinse cycle first on the dishwasher and clean the filters because you don't want bits of food ending up on your board. I've actually bought a board from China that had like, I don't know what was on it, but it'd be clearly been cleaned in a dishwasher or something similar, and there was like weird stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'll put a picture up here quickly if I can find it. If not, that's all good. In the dishwasher on 50 degrees for 20 minutes, and keep the CPU installed. That's important because it will stop crud getting into the socket. Which, I mean, you can always clean it out, but it's best not to get crud in there in the first place. If you've watched the Pentium 4 videos, you'll see I leave the CPU in there and get zero issues with that project. And after you have pulled it out of the dishwasher, you want to remove the CPU, give it a good rinse with distilled water to remove contaminants. I just use it in like a spray bottle. Give it a really good rinse off because distilled water is cheap. I used to just use electrical cleaner, and you go through like almost a whole bottle or a can just to rinse the board off. So give it a good rinse with distilled water. Distilled water also has a slight cleaning effect, just to note that. Then what I've got here, spray with electrical cleaner to dilute the water and assist in drying, so it gets the water, kind of displaces the water off the board. Especially spray it around the edges of the chips. Try and get it under any microchips because you don't want moisture hiding behind those chips. That's one of the worst things that can happen, is moisture sticking around somewhere and causing corrosion. So the trick is, when you go cleaning your mainboard in the dishwasher, you want to rinse it and get the water off the board ASAP so that you don't have any corrosion forming. Then I spend 4 hours on the dehumidifier, which heats the air to around 40-50 degrees. So that dehumidifier, which you'll see a bit later on, it gives that really dry air, and I've had really good success with it. And the way you can tell if your board's dry is spray the air under the chips, like the chipset for example. Just make sure there's no moisture coming out, otherwise give it another hour if it's still moisture coming out after you give it another clean with the air. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, spray compressed air around the sockets, chips, make sure there's no water residue. If there's still, yeah, okay, I said 1 hour, but 2 hours is good. Sorry, I did this presentation a little while ago, so I'm just kind of reading it as I go. Then we wash the CPU cooler, face it down to stop water ingress into the fan, because you want to avoid getting water into the fan, because you get water in the bearing, water in the electronics, and then you got to, if possible, pull the little mini circlip out and pull the shaft off and dry it out. But if you can avoid water getting in there, as you can see, SpongeBob's doing it properly down the bottom right there, not letting the water get into the electronics. And I've had good success doing it like that. As long as I don't think I accidentally got water in there, I've never had issues with fans getting water in there. Then clean the CPU contacts, which is important. Just use electrical cleaner or contact cleaner. Give it a really good spray out. Then reinstall. And when you install the processor, you'll notice I wiggle the handle up and down. It's just to make the contacts rub against the gold pins, just in case there is a tiny amount of contamination. It may jiggle it out the way. I don't know, it's just something I do. Plus new thermal paste. Then we clean our memory slots and memory tabs. Not sure what I meant by memory tabs. PCIe if needed. Again, on my Pentium 4 rebuild video, I use this cleaning card I've got that I use at work, and I just put like isopropyl alcohol on it and just polish those contacts just to get any residue, because it does actually cause problems. If you go check out, especially I think it was the last video 3 or 4 of the Pentium rebuild, when I came across issues with the PCI or AGP slot and the memory slots, and giving them a clean fix issue. And then once it's all back together and dry, we power up and test it. So when I test a cleaned board, especially if I don't know its background, I'll run Memtest for 48 hours with all memory slots populated if possible. Run a program called QuickTech Pro, which just tests all the various hardware components. Not the greatest, but it's something. It's comprehensive. And I've also found that if something can install Windows, you're probably not going to have any issues, because a lot of mainboards that I've had, they have funky issues. They crash when you install Windows at some point. So I found if you can install the Windows, install the drivers, give it a couple of reboots, run some random game or program on it, and you just get that feel like, it's running stably, no resets, no freezing, no blue screens, then your board's going to be good. Okay, optionals. This is funny. So, optionally, you can spend 2 hours dealing with a BIOS that doesn't support the CPU installed, that won't boot from USB, being the main board, and possibly needs a BIOS update image read from floppy to possibly boot from USB and detect the CPU, only to find it still doesn't work, and then find out the CPU can't run at its rated speed due to the main board's front side bus speed not supported. So the first board that I cleaned in this video, I couldn't work out what was going on. I couldn't get the CPU to clock where it was meant to, and then I kind of thought a little bit, and I thought, hang on, this has got an Intel 945 chipset, and I thought Core 2s generally had the ones that I had G31, G35, P41, P45, something like that. Close enough. And I remember the older Intel, that would be the 945, didn't support the later, there was an earlier and a later generation of Core 2, the Core 2 family. So then I kind of looked it up, and sure enough, the processor on the board was not supported. So now, kind of in limbo, because I've got to find a properly supported CPU that's not a piece of junk to try and sell it. So it is what it is. So anyway, let's go through the videos of cleaning and testing these boards. So most of this will be fast forwarded. I'll just chuck the occasional screenshot up to show you what I'm doing, and so let's get to it.
A few moments later.
Okay, so we now have our nice clean board. So what have we done? We've washed it in the dishwasher. We have then rinsed it off with electrical cleaner and then gone over it with a can of air. So it's still wet, but there's not it's not dripping wet. So we're going to use this thing here, a dehumidifier, which will direct nice dry air over the board at about 40-50 degrees and give it a nice dry. Second board, just set it up there so that the dry air goes over the surface of the boards. Continuous. We'll set a timer of 4 hours just in case I forget that I left it on. So yeah, we're just going to keep it like this for a couple hours and our boards should be good. Then we're going to put them back together and test them. Alrighty, so it's been going now for 2 hours, just over 2.5 hours, and you can see the temperature just under 45 degrees centigrade for those of you overseas. So what we're going to do now is just going to check the board. So what we want to do is make sure there's no moisture under it. So I get the air can on the edge of the chips. Spray it along the edge. Just see if any moisture comes out. That one's pretty good. So is that one. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is probably dry already, but we'll let it go for another hour or so just to be 100% safe, because even the tiniest bit of residue under there may potentially cause corrosion in the future. So back on the dryer. These are pretty much ready now. So we're going to, I've already touched that a moment ago. Reassemble the board, just give one more check with the air. Yeah. I'm not seeing any moisture come out from under any sockets or anything, so I'd say those are well and truly dry. It's coming up on 3 hours now, so let's get the other board off and reassemble them. multi-boot diagnostics. This is the similar to the one that I've offered in a previous video, except it's got a few extras on here that can't be released into the wild. Alright, we got power. She should power up. Retrains the memory or doing whatever. I haven't put a battery in, as you can see. And we've got a display. Okay, so I cannot get this to boot off USB, no matter what I do. Check all the settings. I mean, this is the old school BIOS. Fortunately, there's not a lot of options here. It sees the drive when it exits. As you'll see in a second, it'll show SanDisk down the bottom. Just notice that processor speed's wrong. So it's got, yeah, sorry, down the bottom. So it's seeing a SanDisk drive, it just won't boot from it. So I'm hoping, this has only got the F2 version of BIOS on it. So I'm hoping that with a BIOS update, we should be able to get this booting from USB. Okay, so for now I've actually given up trying to boot off a floppy drive, which I was trying to... Oh man, long story. I didn't record it because I just want to get this updated. So the BIOS utility needs a floppy drive. It is so old school that it does not read from a USB drive. So I tried, you can see I got the cable here still. Tried plugging in a floppy drive, but the floppy drive doesn't work. And it's actually up there now. So yeah, I've decided to boot the utility off CD to the Mainboard Diagnostic program. And what we'll do is we'll update the BIOS later after we install Windows on it, just to test it. Yeah, I'm trying to not spend too much time on these things. As usual, something happens like, oh, let's just update the BIOS. Oh, we need a floppy drive. Ah. I do actually have floppy drives, but they're in that box there, and to get to that box from the other side, there's a heap of stuff in a bed around there, and I just don't feel like moving at all, so we'll just do it this way. So hopefully this should boot off the CD-ROM. This has got the Mainboard Diagnostics on it. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Which is also going to be interesting trying to get Windows on this, because I don't actually have Windows. Oh, I've got Windows 10 on CD. Anyway, what we're currently running now is QuickTech Pro. So this is like a mainboard testing utility. So we're just going to let this go and make sure it passes these diagnostics. The next strategy to update the BIOS, the epic quest to update the BIOS it's become, is I've plugged in a random hard drive off of an old mining computer with Windows 10 on it, and fortunately it managed to boot up. So, except it comes up with this every time you go run an Explorer. So I'm not sure why I stopped using this drive. Probably because it was doing weird things. File Explorer. It's going to work. No. What if we're going through a folder? There we go. So I've plugged a drive back in with the... I went onto the website for all the utilities and stuff, so hopefully we can install the BIOS update utility. And that will allow us to update the BIOS, which will allow us to boot off USB Diagnostics, which will allow us to run all our regular test programs. Jeez, the hoops you're going to jump through sometimes, hey? Oh gosh. Alright, then we'll bet this won't work. Sorry, you need 32-bit Windows. Nope, it's working. Well, it's installing, whether it works or not. Install, finish. Yeah. There you go. Okay, where is it? Start menu maybe? Yeah, there we go. That BIOS. Yes. The driver can't release to failure. Okay. Okay, it's worked. I don't know if I want to trust this now. Load CMOS data. Clear, sure, why not? Update BIOS from file. Well, it's kind of working so far. Okay. There's a file, version F6. Screen will freeze for a few seconds, hopefully not for indefinitely. Oh, it's working. Writing, erasing. And it's finished. Alright, let's go restart now. And unplug that drive and set the BIOS up. There we go. F6, very good. So it's updated. Let's turn it off before it boots Windows. So we're just going to unplug the CD drive, unplug the SSD, and see if we can't boot off USB. Alright, moment of truth. So where's the power? There we go. Yep, help if I actually turn that on. Let's go in. Okay, there's no new options for booting from USB. It's just got legacy USB storage detector is the only kind of thing I can find related to it. Anyway, let's just exit out and see if the boot menu gives us an option with a F12. That's not looking promising. Usually it shows the actual... Oh man, hard disk. Is it going to show it there? Probably not. Bugger. Oh, looks like we're not booting off a USB on this main board. You should see it as a USB hard drive, but it doesn't like it for some reason. Man, no, I should have booted by now. This is what it was doing before. So it sees it, but won't boot from it. So I could try a different USB drive, or I'm just going to have to run the diagnostics off CD, which I'll probably do. So I've got QuickTech Pro, which I use to test the main board, and then Memtest, which I've got on CD to test the system memory. So I'm going to give up trying to boot off my diagnostics, and let's just run it from CD. Okay, so I had a sleep on it, and I thought, I wonder if this old BIOS just doesn't like FAT32 for some reason. So I formatted this drive as FAT16. It's only 1 gigabyte, unfortunately, so I made a trimmed down version, and turns out it will boot, as we're about to see. Kingston Data Traveler. So yeah, booked off FAT16, but then for some reason, when you actually go to boot one of the images, it can't find, that's a QuickTech Pro memory test, it then can't find anything on the file system. You know what, I've spent too much time fluffing around with this, trying to get it to work, so I've got the CDs for QuickTech Pro and Memtest. So I'm just going to not worry about USB at this point. It's just obviously an early implementation of bootable USB, and it was probably only ever designed just to run like a BIOS update or something. They never intended larger drives or FAT32 to be booted from these boards. So yeah, if you had something similar and you've solved the problem, let us know down below. But to be honest, I'm not spending any more time on this. So let's get Memtest running. Yeah. So I was just thinking, the strange thing is, Ultimate Boot CD uses SysLinux, just like those bootable USB drives, and it has no problems running anything from the menus. So yeah, I don't know, it's got me stumped. I've also noticed another strange thing. Running Memtest earlier, it's only detecting 2 gig of RAM, but then it's seeing the 4 sticks of RAM down here. So I don't know what is going on there. Seeing those 2 sticks as 465 is also unusual. So I don't know, it's probably some memory incompatibility thing that I don't know about and don't really care too much about, to be honest. Some of these 2-sided, some of them are 1-sided, so it's probably got something to do with the combination, or might try swapping them around or something. No, I just realised there's probably no point running Memtest because it's only testing 2 gigabytes of those 4. So now we've got to sort this out. Alright, so it looks like we've got a memory incompatibility. So these sticks are double-sided, these sticks are single-sided. No matter what combination you put them in together, you'll only see 2 gig. But you can put each set in by itself and it will see the correct amount. So it looks like it's just a case of I remember this used to be a thing. I've never really encountered it though. Yeah, double-sided RAM, single-sided RAM just not compatible on the same board. So is what it is. I'm just going to test all the memory individually on the board, and yeah, we just have to get rid of the board with 2 gig of RAM on it, unfortunately. I don't have any other... I probably do have other RAMs sitting around. In RAM, another box here. Should probably have a sniff through and see what I can find. But anyway, is what it is. So I'm not going to... Spent way too much time on this board, so I'm just going to finish up here and then get onto our next board, which is the AMD. Okay, so I've just gone back into Memtest. It's just been running for like 72 or 75 hours after being tested and without fail. But I've noticed it's only running at 1.4. It should be running at 1.86, as is the Core 2 Duo 6300. So it's either going to be one of two things. I'm thinking this has actually got quite an old chipset on it, like a 945. So I've got a feeling that the 945 may not have supported the bus speed, because I think the later Core 2s were 1066 base frontside bus and the earlier ones were 800. I think I said that in the right order. 1066 for the newer ones, 800 for the older ones. So just going to have a look in here. Oh wow, it's set to 100. So we've got the okay, so to get 1066, what would it be? Probably 266. Oh, the memory goes a little bit on the fast side. So the memory is 667. That's a little fast. 533. That'll do for now. Let's see if that boots. So that should get save. Yes, enter. Let's see what we get. Yeah, we've got an orange light now. That doesn't usually happen. Yeah, I think it's not liking that speed. That's alright, we'll clear CMOS. Turn it off first. Clear CMOS, shorting out the clear pins, power on. So probably take a second retraining the memory. There we go. Yeah, that's gone back to yeah, okay. Enabled. Let's go 233. Enter. 620, that's alright. And F10, save and exit, yes. Will it crash this time? So I'm going to look it up, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's probably the wrong processor for this board. So I'll see what other Core 2s I've got laying around. But I mean, as far as this video is concerned, it's meant to be how to wash a mainboard, not how to configure a Core 2 Duo. So, anyway, I'm going to... Yeah, that's not working again. I'm going to clear the CMOS again and get... What's that program called? Yeah, QuickTech Pro running on it just to... I mean, I'm pretty 99% sure it's going to be fine. So run QuickTech Pro and also just install Windows just to make sure there's no strangeness. Because I find, as I've mentioned before, all you have to do is, if you install Windows and it does weird things or goes too slow or blue screens, there's probably something not right somewhere. But if you install Windows, get the drivers on and it acts all happy and healthy, then what does it need to do? It's operating correctly. So let's do that. Here we go. So QuickTech Pro is now running. As we can see, yeah, it's 1.4. Confirmed in this program that it is actually running at 1.4. So this just runs through, tests all the hardware, components, yada yada. And yeah, I'll just wait for this to pass, and then we'll install Windows on a spare SSD. And hopefully she's all good.
Many months later.
Okay, so this is literally like 2 months later since the last part of the video. I've been just busy and unmotivated. So anyway, we're going to clear this out the way. I've tested it enough. I've ended up finding two 2 GB sticks of RAM. So it gives it 4. So I'm happy that's working pretty well. So we're just going to quickly fire up the other board. Make sure that's working. Which is the AMD board. And yeah, get these guys up for sale. If you're wondering, these things probably won't sell for much, you're probably right. I only sell for like $35–50, but hey, I figure it's better to go to someone who will use it for a retro build. There's actually people that ask me about these boards, so I'll see if they're still interested, and if they are, I'll say, yeah, they work. I mean, I guarantee these that they'll work and whatever. If they fail, then, you know, give people their money back, as is the right thing to do. So, hope that's all good. Alright, I'm just going to speed through this. I'm just going to assemble it and test it. So I'm not going to jibber jabber too much more because we're already over 30 minutes. So let's get to it. Alright, so our board's reassembled. Just put some cleaning stuff away. Now plug a PS2 keyboard in. Yeah, so one or the other. I think we'll go with keyboard. And a VGA into there. Now, will it power up? Let's have a look. Alright, power switch, it's on. Hopefully it's plugged in. No, it's not plugged in. I hope. You never have enough power points in a shed. There you go. Let's power it on using a knife this time. Yeah, look at that. Spins up. Where will we get display? Alright, should we plug it into USB 3 or USB 2? We'll go 2. There, Control Alt Delete. Alright. Right, wants us to go into BIOS. Yeah. Not really worried about anything right now. So, yeah, let's see. High speed, yeah, it's all good. Enabled. Device configuration. It sees it. There you go. You can tell it what just keep it as auto, that's fine. I was going to say earlier too, there's actually, I was thinking before, mainboards we use at work called a Talladega. They're a Core 2 and they boot off USB without issue. Very similar BIOS to the one I've got here. Yeah, still a bit dumbfounded. What? Real strange. Must just be something unusual with that board and booting, because I have booted USB bootable drives off older Pentium 4 boards without issue. So maybe I just need to stop thinking about it. All right, here's our field service diagnostics. So we're going to we're going to run. It's been a while since I used this one. All other system tools, including Memtest. Alright, so I'm kind of contemplating whether I just bore everybody installing Windows and testing these two boards, or whether you just take my word for it. So anyway, this is just showing that board number 2 has not been killed after a nice wash, and nor do I expect it to. And you'll notice too, I saw a video once of the manufacturing mainboards, and after they manufacture them, they do wash them to get all the flux and contaminants off. So I don't know. I kind of made this video because there's so much stuff online, like people saying, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. It's like, well, I've been washing boards for 20 years and I've never killed one. It's about following the proper process. You know, it's not like you stick it in the dishwasher and hang it out on the clothesline to dry. And 2 days later it kind of dries and it's got bird droppings on it. Done properly, things aren't an issue. So anyway, I'm just going to finish testing this board. I'll then install Windows on it and run a few programs, and yeah, then I'll be happy that this will be up for sale. And I'll probably try and put some matched 4 sticks of RAM in there, sell it with 8 gig, and yeah, who knows, some hobbyist or dude might want to buy it. I'll probably try and sell this board for around $50. Yeah, minus eBay fees, probably get 45, which will be good because I've got couple of projects I want to fund coming up. So anyway, I'm not going to jibber jabber anymore. We're just going to keep this testing, run QuickTech Pro, install Windows, and that will be it. So rather than bore you for another 20-30 minutes of testing, you just have to take my word for it that these boards will work. I don't even know, that maybe they will fail, in which case, don't know, they might become e-waste again. Who knows? Anyway, hope you found something interesting in this video, and I will catch you next video. Take care, everyone.